Sweet Baby Inc. has a new partner that hides its affiliation. Powell Group deletes page thinking gamers are stupid. Chat, you're stupid. Did you hear that? You're stupid. I'm stupid too.
The Powell Group is an absolute behemoth consultation company in the gaming industry that connects to thousands of publishers and developers, and they just had announced their affiliation to Sweet Baby Inc., but now they've tried to run and hide by removing their announcement page. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube membership. Now, obviously,
hold on. Powell Group involvement in video games. Let me see. The Powell Group, video game consulting. What kind of video games do they consult for? Publisher, investor, I'm a developer, game scouting. I can't find a single bit of information regarding that. Oh, well, maybe it's in the video.
The internet is forever. When you post something, somebody's going to have a screenshot of it, an archive of it, some kind of proof that it existed, especially when it comes to video games. We're talking about billions of gamers across the world and millions who are right now paying attention to the culture war and Gamergate too, especially when it comes to narrative consultation companies like Sweet Baby Inc. that we feel are plaguing the industry. In my opinion, they're a blight on games. They are not doing.
And in my opinion, if you're going to say out loud that the whole point of you being a consulting firm is to be hidden, that's a massive red flag. She even said it herself. Kim Belair, the CEO, said in her words during the last big event, she said, originally we were not supposed to be found out. Why? Why is that, milady?
Any good, they're just doing damage. But we just had found out that they were partnering with the Powell Group. I did another video on it. It will be linked down below. But basically, the Powell Group is kind of a power consultation entity within the industry. They have partnered with thousands of video game developers and publishers. And basically, if you are part of their network, you can connect to these companies. If you're, say, a developer who's looking for a consultation company.
Oh, so if you don't follow their narrative, they don't want to consult for you. Okay.
You can find one like a Sweet Baby Inc. through this. If you are a developer who has a game that needs to be published, you can find publishers. It is a hub for anybody in the industry.
You have to get approved by these most of the time to get published as well. If you're with a publisher that requires you to have a consulting company or a firm, you need to go through these steps, unfortunately.
And they love to market themselves as, unlocking your potential with their consulting strategy and expertise. They, of course, do game scouting, game viability assessments. They do market research and analytics.
What does that mean, viability?
Analytics, accessibility audits, video game IP acquisition, agency representation, and they have worked with a lot of major names.
Ooh, Amazon, yeah.
Names, Tripwire, Night Dive, NetEase, Mastiff, Hyperbeard. I would be sitting here for weeks if I was listing off all of them. But they basically just are, a hub. And
I'm curious, though, because NetEase is a Chinese-owned company. I wonder how that works. Not Tripwire. Yes, unfortunately, Tripwire. I forget who they made. Yeah.
The reason why we all kind of started paying attention to them was because just a few days ago, we found out that they were partnering with Sweet Baby Inc. And this was going to be a massive opportunity for SBI to push their agenda. They were going to have access to a lot of developers. But now we're actually finding out, interestingly enough, that the Powell Group has removed their Sweet Baby Inc. partnership announcement page. I had just posted this over on X. Make sure to follow me there if you're not already. But just days ago, this is the archive.
Did they drop them or did they just remove the article, I wonder?
Again, everything is always archived on the internet. They had a sensitivity consulting page where they talked about how we believe you need diverse voices to solve diverse problems. Together with our partners at Sweet Baby Inc., we provide sensitivity and authenticity consulting at every stage of development.
Sensitivity consulting for video games. Oh, you're making a game about zombies' heads getting blown off? Yeah, it's time. It's time to get consulted for sensitivity.
We connect you to an inclusive and knowledgeable team of consultants to best bring your story to life. And they had like the Sweet Baby Inc. spiral. The spiral into irrelevancy because you're not going to have any money if you work with Sweet Baby Inc. by the end of it. But then a bunch of blocks. It's very bizarre the way that Sweet Baby Inc. markets themselves.
No, do you notice how they only include the spiral and not the actual baby head that they used to have? Yeah, they don't do the little head at the top. For those that don't know, their little logo is supposed to be a little baby that looks like it's smiling, but they only include the spiral this time. Interesting choice.
It is very childlike, and to me, it's honestly quite creepy. I don't know why this would be like your branding. It's not like you're a children's toy company or a children's entertainment company, but they've decided to go in that direction. But this is their webpage. It clearly said Sweet Baby, had their logo. But now if you go to the same exact website, Sensitivity Consulting, it says game over. Just kidding. But this page doesn't exist. Maybe try searching and you cannot find it. If you also go to, Google or Bing and you type in Powell Group Sensitivity Consulting, it still will pop up. But if you click it, it just does lead you here as well to the game over page. So it's clear that because content creators like myself and Master of the TDS who broke this story are talking about this situation.
That's right, you right-wing grifters. You're not allowed to find out about our affiliation with Sweet Baby. She's spaghetti hair like you. She has nice hair. Look at her curls.
We're pointing out this partnership that they are now trying to cover their tracks. They are now trying to run and hide, but it's not going to work. The internet is forever, and you already announced this partnership. It was up for even roughly a week before anybody had found out about it. And, now we don't know for certain if they are still partnered with Sweet Baby Inc., but of course, one would assume that they are. They're just trying to keep it on the down low.
Why are you so scared of being found out? Coca-Cola doesn't hide the fact that, their sodas aren't great for you. They still transparently label things and say, hey, consuming Coke products, a lot of Coke products can lead to diabetes. You can find it out for yourself, Loss of money? Yeah, or maybe because, you are going to piss away a bunch of money because people won't buy your video games because you're associated with literal demented little babies that think that consulting is a real job.
I bet that Sweet Baby Inc.'s partnership is still going to happen, or it is still happening right as of this point in time, unless they announce oh my gosh, because of, people online, because of gamers, we lost this massive opportunity. Yeah. I don't think that's going to happen. But the problem with, of course, this partnership is the fact that Sweet Baby Inc. did have a way to get in touch with thousands of developers and publishers within the industry. But we know that people like Kim Belair and David Bedard hate the fact that we are calling them out, whether it's content creation.
Well, it's racketeering, essentially. Yeah, protection racketeering. You pay us money to change the game however we want to, even though we should probably not have as much influence as we do. We get paid for it through taxpayer money sometimes for consulting in video games so people's feelings don't get hurt. Imagine telling that to a video game company 30 years ago, or even 20. People would laugh you out of the room.
Creators, or just you as a gamer on social media who's retweeting and liking posts about them, they always want to fly under the radar. She's admitted that they want to kind of lurk in the shadows and they don't like when people pay attention to them. So what do? I make it my mission to pay attention to them, to give you guys the information whenever it pops up, because
unless we forget one of their consultants was so outrageous that they were saying stupid shit on Twitter, they finally decided to fire him. After like a couple of months, they're like, all right, you've done enough damage, we gotta let you go.
This is not a group that we should be blindly supporting. They are damaging the industry. They are not helping it. They are not making it healthier. They are only here to ruin it, at least in my opinion. And I think that it's great that so many people are paying attention to them now. And this is just what happens when you are an entity who people generally do not agree with. The modern
I don't think all consulting companies are bad inherently. Consulting, like DEI originally, back like, I don't know, in the 50s and 60s, DEI, without that word, existed in companies. They started because women were sick of not being included in like meetings, or they were treated like crap, or they were treated like inferior, second-class citizens and all this and that. That was 60, 70 years ago, man. This is not the same thing anymore. We're living in 2024, for God's sake. Not just women. Yeah, not just women, but like this is off the top of my head. It was a thing back then. It's just that they try to label themselves as like these activists and that they're doing this for the good of everyone else without actually considering that they may be shitting up the video game sphere for quite literally the same people that they're trying to fight for. Isn't that sad?
Modern audience that they want to market their titles to isn't showing up to support them. And, well, they clearly don't like it. But I bet that the Powell Group was getting a lot of emails asking them questions about this partnership. I bet that they did see some of the posts on social media. They had to.
Well, if I had to guess, they might have not even known about this until it happened. Most companies like this aren't like terminally online and engaged with like the online sphere of social media and like video games in general. I bet you they only found out after it was too late.
To have in some way, shape, or form known that we were talking about it, that we were paying attention, and now they've, tried to go into damage control mode by hiding it, but that's not going to work. And tons of people are even commenting on my post now saying things like, good catch. They can't undo this, though. Everyone will comb through what they do, what they have access to, and they'll make sure no one can operate in the shadows. It is so extremely true. Now the Powell Group is on our radar, and I'm honestly shocked that they hadn't really been on my radar before this, just because they are such a large entity, unless they're lying and they don't actually work with this many companies. That would also be interesting to find out, but at this point in time, they do have so many companies on their webpage. One would assume they're legitimate.
I would have to look into it myself. I know there's a lot of consulting groups that just live in the video game sphere. I know about Powell Group. I just didn't know they had that much of a market, I guess.
Minimal Effort Live saying, I can't keep up with this shit. It truly is a never-ending story. Like, it's constantly unraveling a layer after layer after layer when it comes to consultation companies, developers, publishers, the sweet baby inks, the black girl gamers out there. Somebody said they are so sensitive. We believe you need blah, blah, blah. I guess their beliefs are not very strong when it comes to making money, or in this case, risk losing money. It's so true. All you do when you work with a sweet baby ink is lose money. And there are a lot of developers out there, I'm sure, who have really great projects in the works, and they had partnered with Sweet Baby years ago. And maybe their titles will come out and they will be fantastic, but I do feel mildly bad for them because,
again, there are games that exist that were under Sweet Baby that were actually half decent. However, even with Spider-Man, a nominee for Game of the Year, there were some things that people really fucking hated. It was just overlooked because it was a half decent game. Luckily enough, it actually made them a lot of money. Spider-Man IP, actual neat characters, but the whole changing Spanish grammar to fit a more inclusive Western view of using they, thems instead of she, her, he, him was insane. I couldn't believe my ears when I heard that stuff.
Because their game might have had a chance otherwise, but because it's going to land up on an SBI detected list, it may not get the sales that it potentially deserved. But ultimately, it is still the developer's fault for working with an SBI in the first place, thinking they needed a sensitivity consultant. Either way, though, this is the brand new update. It's basically like, haha, we are sitting here trying to hide this. Oh, you guys didn't see that. You didn't.
Well, Square Enix ended up dropping them. Yeah, Square Enix had SBI, but they dropped them. I don't know why. They didn't say anything. They just quietly removed themselves from SBI. That probably was a big hit for them financially. Square Enix is quite popular.
See this webpage, but everything is archived. Plenty of people have talked about it. There is evidence that this partnership existed, and while Sweet Baby has not formally announced it, they did wipe their webpage just 2 weeks ago, which was extremely suspicious, and I think it's because they were basically trying to merge into the Powell Group, though we don't have a lot of information at this point in time beside that initial webpage where they posted, we believe, you need to, have diverse voices to solve diverse problems. I will be keeping my eye on this to see if they relaunch this webpage, if they make any statements. But for now, that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. If you would,
Chad, do we really have problems in video games? Do we have problems in video games that need, problems to be solved? Like, lack of women in video games. Like, the only thing that I really think that there's a problem with is, badly written characters or poorly functioning games that launch and they're unplayable in the first, week. Yeah. Really, do we really have a lack of women in video games? I don't know. I've never really thought about it.
Enjoyed it, make sure to give it a
Need
like,
more
and if you
boobies?
didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.
You know what would be a really big gamer move is to have a Sweet Baby Inc. pivot completely and start saying that video game publishers are selling their video games for too much money, that poor people can't afford it. I'd be so down for that. Yeah, what is wrong with Blizzard, for example, selling video games for $70? You're discriminating against people who are poor or living in countries where the American dollar is worth more than their dollar, so they have to pay more. Bandai Namco recently published a game called Unknown 9 Awakening, and Kim Belair was the story architect for it. The game flopped so hard. Wait, hold on. Chat, this is not looking too hot. This is not looking too hot, chat. 47 24-hour peak, all-time 276. Chat, a game like this is not cheap. You are Haruna, a Quaestor. What the hell is a Quaestor? Born with the ability to venture into the mysterious dimension, the Fold. On her quest for powerful hidden knowledge, she must learn to master the forces of the Fold to fight a secret society with a hostile agenda. Let me guess, the hostile agenda is right-wing grifters. Haruna? Yeah, I immediately thought of Haruna, the VTuber. Fold these nuts.